What's happening, homie? Back with another crit race analysis. Today we're at the Tricombe Spring Fling, which is a local spring series with prizes and overall scoring for the top three. I'm currently doing pretty well in this series. The first two series I placed second. In the third I took a sixth after some bad positioning. On the fourth weekend I was out in St. Louis for the Tour of St. Louis. Here we are in the fifth weekend. I'm just trying to hold my second overall position. That's where I'm currently sitting. And this series is a little bit different than what most spring series are, even crits in general. This is more of a points lap race. So there are 3 intermediate sprints and then the final sprint. In those 3 intermediate sprints, which we're currently viewing the first one, the top 4 get points. First gets 4 points, second gets 3, third 2, fourth 1, right? So we have 3 of those in total, and then at the final sprint, the top 8 get points, with first getting 8 and 8th getting 1, right? So it's a little bit different, and the tactics that you actually have to apply to the race are, you can't just, save it all for the sprint. Even if you win, someone could have gotten, a couple thirds, 3 thirds, and a fifth will still beat you, right? So you have to be very aware of, who's where, and for this race, that was kind of my main focus. Was I don't really care who goes up the front if they're not in contention with me in the overall. To move up to first, I would have had to win, and the guy who is currently in first would have had to got 8th, and that just wasn't going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to happen. So I decided to sit in, and I don't even contest the first sprint. Not necessarily by choice. I am a little bit too far back, and coming into this last corner, it's very, very important to be closer to the front. It's about 250 meters to the line with a slight uphill at the end. And you'll just see here in this first sprint, I'm just a little bit too far back, and there's just no way to make up that gap. But, it's going to come together. It almost always does. And this course really does lend itself to breakaways for some reason, mostly because there's not really teams. There's no control. And after this first sprint attempt, or sprint points lap, you'll actually see, well, you won't see, but a guy goes off the front and he sticks it for the whole time. He's like a younger junior, just a really good time trialist. We'll see here, hard attack coming up the left, and I decided to jump on it because I figure, hey, if I can get a free lead out for the second points lap, absolutely. And we just don't, I don't commit to it because I don't want to pull through, right? It's a long lap, about 1 mile, and I just don't want to pull through, right? And so I sit on, and he stops working once he realizes that I'm on, and there's about 4 of us, but no one really wants to pull through. No one wants to lead anyone else out, and thus we kind of end up just sitting here, slowing down, and no one really does any work. Overall, the race was pretty hard. I mean, I averaged 240 watts with a normalized of 290, so, approaching like my FTP, and I think that was half of it was my fault in terms of not drafting very well and just kind of attacking when I shouldn't, covering too many moves. But I think it's also just kind of a matter of fact with smaller races and in a points race where you have to sprint, right? You can't just if 4 guys go off the front, your race is over effectively. You'll get no points. And so I think that really does increase the average power that you're going to need to be able to actually compete throughout the whole race. And here we're about to come into the second to last corner for this point sprint. And you'll notice this corner, you can pedal through it and you can take it very, very fast, but almost no one does. They'll pedal through it from time to time, but no one takes it fast. We're only going 22. It's not very quick at all. And you can see in the rear view camera actually that it's getting pretty bunched up. And so I realized, okay, I'm going to probably need to jump the second we get out of the corner because going through the corner first isn't that much further ahead than the guy in the 5th or 6th wheel. So I do that. I spike it up about 900 watts, and I notice this guy in front of me, he's going to drag me up to the line, so I kind of sit down for a second, and I realize I can make up some gap. There is one guy still off the front, so only the top 3 get points. I pass this guy on my right, pick up 4th. So there's 1 point, and with 2 more sprints remaining, I just need to do okay. I think I realized as long as I finished somewhere in the top 6-ish, I wouldn't lose my second position, even if the guy in 3rd had won it. So that's something that I'm really trying to be aware of. We'll jump ahead here to about halfway point of the 3rd sprint lap. And in between the time of the 2nd and the 3rd sprint lap, the guy who was currently sitting first in the overall got off the front and joined the guy who had gotten off the front in the first points lap. They were going to stick it both of them, that's kind of their thing. You know, they're both pretty good time trialists. The second guy's a little bit bigger, just definitely his power profile. He's currently leading the Omnium. I don't chase it back. Some of the guys had looked at me to chase it down, but I'm not going to. I don't think that I can make up the ground to first. He would have to get like 6th or 7th, and I would have to win it. I just didn't see that happening, and I was really just trying to protect my second overall, which I do fairly well. We're going to come here into this final straightaway, again, about 250 meters. I spike it up to about 950, and I realize, you know, I'm probably not going to catch the guy who's in first, but I can definitely get at least one more point here, and that's what I do. I pip this guy in the blue with about 50 meters to go. I think I barely miss out on that 3rd placing, and you know, now we're gonna jump ahead with about 3/4 of a lap to go in the final lap. I'm a little bit too far forward, and I know that I'm gonna get swarmed. Generally on this course, on this back straight, you'll get swarmed. You just do. And so effectively, if it's not fast through here, people can come around you really easily. It's a downhill. It doesn't look super steep, but you can take it about 32, 33, and even through that corner, you can take it at 33, 34. And that's exactly what happens with an attack up the left. I leave myself a little bit of space to get through, but I need to put the power down, and I need to move up now. I start to, and we come into this corner. We're not going that fast, but some guys still are a little bit on the brakes. We come through, me included, and with 2 corners left to go, I let this little gap open because I know if I can take this corner at my pace, you have a huge advantage, and that's actually what I do. I take this corner very well. I come around the outside on these guys, and I'm keeping my speed through the corner, 27, 28, 29, spike it up. We're going 31, 34, and I'm able to pass these 2 guys. So the top 4 spots are gone. 2 guys off the front, and those 2 guys up there. I realize I got 5th locked up, so I just kind of sit up, and then I get pipped at the line. Always sprint to the final corner. I appreciate y'all watching this. If you had a good time, like, subscribe. I'll be back with more content soon. Deuces.